The revenue mix of this wireless operator is approximately 70-30 in favor of postpaid activity. Postpaid activities are mostly related to multi-year contracts between the operator and a subscriber. This mix is relatively consistent across all service categories, such as voice, data, content, and messaging. However, within postpaid activities, data provides the lion's share of the revenue, roughly 59%, most probably fueled by the explosion of tablets and smartphones. An overview of the top plans confirms the good performance of data plans. 75 megabyte and 100 megabyte are in the top three. However, the top tier data plans, 2 gigabyte and 5 gigabyte, typically generating the most ARPU, have a relatively low adoption rate. Geographical analysis shows that current data revenue is primarily fueled by a few states, and particularly by California. From this customer usage analysis, we can conclude that there is an opportunity for this operator to further analyze the current service consumption from its subscriber base in order to continue to grow its revenue and particularly encourage the uptrend of its data business. Now let's switch to regional analysis. Make sure the filters are on for year 2011, class is data and voice, and the state is California. We are now looking at more detailed information on the usage of customers in California for voice and data services. An interesting fact is the revenue distribution across age categories for all voice and data services. We notice that the top revenue generating age groups are 45 to 54, 25 to 34, and 35 to 44. We also notice that the revenue distribution is slightly more oriented towards data plans than the national average. It might be interesting to focus specifically on the data plans to analyze the demographics. The demographics for data plan consumption are quite different from the aggregated picture we saw earlier. Data plans seem to attract a younger audience in California, with the 25 to 34-year-old age group representing the top category and the 15 to 24 making their way to the top three. By mousing over the 75 megabyte plan, we can see that the revenue is around $532,000 for this plan. Now let's compare California with another state, Florida for example. The demographics are very different, with an older population driving data revenue, but the revenue for the 75 megabyte plan is 3 times lower, 176 versus 532. What we can conclude is that targeting the younger age groups, 15 to 24 years old and 25 to 34 years old for data plans, as done successfully in California, is likely to be a good strategy for this operator. Now let's go back to California, selecting California in the state frame. Now let's dive a bit more into the 25 to 34 and 15 to 24 year old segments. Selecting 25 to 34 in the bottom left frame. Now hold shift and select 15 to 24 as well. Now let's click filter. We notice that revenue is mostly generated throughout the week, Monday to Friday, for this young population. Sunday and Saturday are the smallest in the list. We can see this in the bottom right frame. The conclusion here is that this might provide some hints for potential new promotions and campaigns that may want to either encourage or buck that trend. On the rate plan front, one interesting fact is that this young generation seems not to be attracted by their top tier data plans. We can see that the 5 gigabyte plan only represents 4%. This operator may want to launch a campaign to upsell the customers from these age groups to bigger and larger data plans. Let's remove the filter on age group, and let's have a look at the 5 gigabyte data plan. If the data-hungry young customers are not adopting it, it may be interesting to check the demographics. Now let's select 5 gigabyte in the top right frame and click on Filter. Surprisingly, the top customer population is a senior age group, 65 to 74. Despite a strong representation from a younger audience for data revenue, this operator may want to continue to encourage more mature age groups to adopt the top tier data plans that will generate the most average revenue per user.